So, that Chinese Grand Prix sprint race, what was that all about? Was it a glimpse into a wild, thrilling new future for Formula One? Or was it a sign that something is fundamentally broken? I mean, the action on the track was insane. The politics off the track were absolutely boiling over, and it really feels like the sport is having a massive identity crisis. So, what is really going on? Let's break it all down.
All right, here's what we're going to do. First up, we're going to relive that absolutely chaotic sprint in China. Then, we're going to dig deep into the engine controversy that's causing all this drama. From there, it's straight into the paddock power plays. Before we tackle the big one, how on earth can Formula One fix its future?
Right, let's get straight to the action. The very first sprint race with these new regulations went down in China, and wow, it left pretty much everyone, commentators, fans, you name it, just asking, what did we just watch? The whole thing was so unpredictable, so chaotic, it honestly felt less like elite motorsport and more like a real-life video game.
And this quote right here from a live F1 watch-along just captures that feeling perfectly. You had cars behaving in these really strange ways, especially at the end of the straights, with closing speeds that looked almost fake. It wasn't smooth, flowing racing, it was these sudden, jarring changes in speed that left even hardcore fans totally confused. This karting feel line from the commentary, absolutely spot on. We saw this constant flip-flopping for the lead, especially in those early stages. You had Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, and Charles Leclerc just trading places over and over again. It almost felt artificial, like they were hitting a button for a temporary power-up.
And the results? They were just as wild as the race itself. George Russell somehow took the win, and Hamilton grabbed a podium that nobody saw coming. But the biggest shocker, the reigning world champ, Max Verstappen, was practically invisible, finishing way outside the points. It was a complete and total shakeup of the usual pecking order.
So, we've seen the chaos on the track. But why? Why is this all happening? Well, the answer lies in the super controversial 2026 engine regulations, which are completely rewriting the rules of the game. This is the million-dollar question, right? Why are cars suddenly slowing down at the end of a straightaway? Why does it look more like a video game than the pinnacle of motorsport? Well, it all comes down to a brand new philosophy on what powers these cars. Okay, so here's the absolute game changer. The new rules for 2026 demand a 50-50 power split between the good old-fashioned combustion engine and the electric battery. This gives the battery a monumentally bigger role, making how you manage your electrical energy the single most important thing on a lap. And that brings us to this buzzword you've probably heard a ton, super clipping. This is what's causing that weird look on track. Picture this. The driver's foot is completely flat on the throttle, but the car is actively sacrificing its own forward momentum to recharge the battery for the next straight. It's this bizarre, totally counterintuitive way of driving that's literally baked into the rules.
And who better to sum it all up than the world champion himself? Max Verstappen's Mario Kart comparison is just perfect. He feels like the racing is becoming less about raw driver skill, pushing the car to its absolute limit, and more like playing a video game, strategically hitting your boost button at just the right moment.
And it's not just Max saying this. Charles Leclerc said pretty much the same thing. The entire skill set is changing. It's no longer just about who can brake the latest or who can carry the most speed through a corner. Now it's a game of energy chess, deciding when to give up speed to recharge, just so you can attack on the next straight. Okay, so the craziness on track is a direct result of these new engine rules. But in F1, the drama never, ever stops at the track. There are some intense strategic games and, let's be honest, a good bit of skulduggery happening behind the scenes. And this is where things get, let's just say, a little spicy. See, with any big new set of rules, teams immediately start looking for loopholes and advantages. And the big question being whispered around the paddock is whether the engine suppliers, specifically Mercedes, are playing fair with their customer teams. And here you have it, McLaren's team principal Andrea Stella just saying it out loud. He's essentially accusing their own engine supplier, Mercedes, of holding back critical information. That's a direct public challenge, and it suggests that customer teams are being put at a huge disadvantage right from the start. The analogy for this that's flying around the paddock is just brilliant. Critics are saying Mercedes is following the letter of the law by supplying an identical engine, but it's like they're sending over an IKEA flat pack and just forgetting to include the instruction manual. All the parts are there, but the secrets to putting them together for max performance? Nope, those are missing. And if you need any more proof that tensions are rising,
Get this, there's a full-on who-done-it mystery gripping the paddock. Details from a private driver's meeting with the FIA got leaked to the media, and now everyone's pointing fingers. With the stakes this high, it's pretty clear that trust is in very short supply.
So we've got bizarre action on the track and intense politics off of it. It feels like something has to give. So for our final section, let's look at how the FIA might try to fix this and what the core debate about F1's identity really is.
Well, the FIA basically has a couple of technical levers they can pull. First, they could allow the cars to regenerate more energy on their own, which would mean drivers spend less time doing that weird manual management, and the racing would feel more natural. Or second, they could just reduce the total amount of electrical boost available, which would also make that aggressive recharging less necessary. But here's the catch, and it's a huge one. These fixes would definitely get rid of that ugly super clipping and make the cars look more like, well, race cars. The massive trade-off, they'd be significantly slower. So the FIA is stuck choosing between how the cars look and how fast they actually go. And this brings us right to the fundamental question at the heart of everything. What does Formula One want to be? Does it want to be the absolute pinnacle of driver's skill, where the person in the cockpit is the ultimate difference maker? Or is it becoming an engineering spectacle, where chaotic, unpredictable racing, even if it feels a bit fake, is the main goal? Right now, Formula One is at a massive crossroads, and honestly, it's not clear at all which path it's going to take.